There are moments in your life where everything falls silent, but not because the world is quiet. It's because your soul is waiting to hear something greater. That deep ache, that invisible pressure pressing on your chest is not a burden. It's a signal, a call from above. Allah is trying to speak to you. But have you been listening? You walk through this world chasing things that once lit you up, people, dreams, promises. But slowly, one by one, they fall apart. You start to ask, why does it all keep slipping away? The truth is, what you're losing is not being taken from you. It's being peeled off so that what is meant for your soul can finally reach you. Allah doesn't speak with noise. He speaks with direction, with signs, with delay, with sudden absence, and often with pain. Each heartbreak, each failure, every door that closes, is a verse in the silent Quran written on your journey. But we rarely read it. We're too busy seeking noise, distractions, validations. You weren't created to survive on likes and attention. You were created to be in deep companionship with Ar-Rahman. And yet we treat his silence like abandonment, instead of guidance. Don't you realize? The emptiness you're running from is the space where Allah wants to place something eternal. The next time you feel lost, don't scroll, don't call, don't distract. Just stop. Because your soul is not screaming for attention. It's begging for connection. Let your knees touch the ground and your forehead the prayer mat. Ask, not for what you think you need, but for what Allah already wrote for your heart before the world ever knew your name. This pain you carry, it's not a punishment. It's the whisper of a Lord who loves you enough to strip away every false comfort, so you can finally come back to Him without anything else in between. You're not broken, you're being rewritten. Some doors don't close because you failed. They close because Allah loves you too much to let you settle. You begged Him to guide you. You cried for purpose. So why are you surprised when everything familiar starts falling apart? The path to meaning never begins with comfort. It begins with disorientation. When the people you thought would stay vanish, when the plans you made collapse, when your surroundings no longer reflect your soul, that's not chaos. That's clarity in disguise. Allah is removing the noise so you can finally hear Him. There's a divine precision to the way He detaches you from the world. The more your heart clings to something that is not written for you, the more you'll feel the ache of separation. But that ache is not without reason. You were never meant to be defined by what you lost, but by what you discover when you return to Him. So ask yourself, what are you still holding on to that Allah has already taken His hand away from? What are you trying to revive when Allah has already buried it for your peace? Letting go doesn't mean defeat. It means you trust that the author of your story knows what chapter needs to be turned, even when your hands are trembling. Your soul is like a plant. You can't grow if you're clinging to dead soil. And sometimes the transplanting feels violent. But that's only because the roots have been there for too long. Detaching hurts. But it's in that tearing that you find life again. You were never created to remain in one season. Every prophet, every righteous soul was moved, from cities, from families, from comfort, to walk towards what Allah had destined. Why do you think your journey should be any different? Let your movement be a form of worship. Don't just endure change. Walk through it with dhikr on your tongue. Let every step be a sujood of the heart. Because when Allah moves you, it's never random. It's always mercy, even if it first arrives as loss. Sometimes the deepest test isn't what you're going through, it's how long you've been going through it. The silence after the dua, the waiting after the heartbreak, the confusion when you thought you did everything right. And yet, nothing changes. Or so you think. But what if Allah is building you while you wait? What if the delay isn't a denial, but a design? Every moment where it seems like nothing is happening is a moment where everything is happening, just in the unseen. You see, Allah doesn't build with haste. He builds with hikmah, divine wisdom that sees beyond your timeline, beyond your logic, beyond what your heart thinks it can handle. The fire that you think is burning you may actually be forging you. Gold is not made in silence. It's shaped in heat, hammered with precision, polished through pressure. What if what you're calling suffering is Allah refining your soul? What if He's preparing you for something greater than what you even dared to ask for? You say your prayers feel empty, that your tears fall into silence. But the angels are recording every one of them. The Prophet said that sometimes a servant cries out to Allah, and the response is delayed, not because Allah doesn't hear, but because He loves the sound of your voice calling to Him. You think waiting means you're forgotten, but Allah never forgets. He sees the ache in your chest, the nights you spend turning in bed, the questions you whisper through your tears. He knows, and He responds in the best way, at the best time, in the best form. Stop measuring your progress by what the eye can see. Faith isn't always visible. Sometimes it's the silent breaking of bad habits, the quiet battle between your nafs and your taqwa, the subtle shift in your heart when you begin to crave Allah more than the outcome. Be patient, not because your test is easy, but because your reward is sacred. And remember, the seed buried in darkness doesn't stop growing just because no one sees it. It becomes a tree. And maybe that's what Allah is making of you. There's a moment in every soul's journey where you must decide, do you want healing, or do you want to hold on to the pain that has become familiar? Because sometimes pain becomes a home, and leaving it feels like betrayal. But how can you expect Allah to fill your heart with light if you've refused to let go of the shadows? The truth is, not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some people were sent only to teach you what not to become. Some were lessons in patience, others in self-worth. And when they leave, don't chase, because if Allah removes someone from your life, it's a form of His mercy. Even if it breaks your heart, it might have saved your soul. You weren't created to be dependent on anyone but Him. We attach ourselves to people hoping they'll rescue us, validate us, complete us. But only Al-Wadud, the most loving, can fill the emptiness inside you. The Prophet said, "Be in this world as a stranger or a traveler." But we try to build homes in temporary places, hearts in fragile hands, forever in fleeting moments. Stop grieving over doors that closed when you were too tired to knock with sincerity. Sometimes Allah closes a door not to punish you, but to push you, to remind you that your destination is not here, not with them, not in this chapter. And every time you revisit the past, you rob yourself of the present that Allah is trying to gift you. You say you've given too much, loved too deeply, trusted too fast. But what if that wasn't a mistake? What if Allah was teaching you strength by letting you feel weakness? What if He was showing you the difference between temporary love and eternal mercy? You don't need closure from people who left. You need clarity from the one who stayed. Allah never left. Through every betrayal, every heartbreak, every lonely night, you were never alone. It was His protection you didn't recognize, His redirection you thought was rejection. Let go, not because it's easy, but because your heart was never meant to carry what Allah already lifted. Have you ever noticed how the night feels heavier when your heart is tired? The world sleeps, but your soul stays awake, whispering questions into the silence. Why does it hurt so much? Why is peace so far? And in those quiet hours you wonder, does Allah still hear me? But maybe you're not awake by accident. Maybe that restlessness is a divine invitation, a sacred window, because the last third of the night is not just another hour. It's a portal, a moment where the Lord of the heavens descends and says, "Who is calling upon me so I may respond? Who is seeking my forgiveness so I may forgive?" It's not silence. It's the sound of mercy descending. You see, healing doesn't always happen in daylight. Sometimes it's in the quiet darkness, when your hands tremble in dua, your voice barely rises above a whisper, and tears fall freely without shame. That's not weakness. That's worship. That's love. Allah doesn't need eloquence. He doesn't need long, rehearsed supplications. He needs your heart, honest, broken, real. Even if all you can say is, "Ya Allah, I don't know what to say." That's still a prayer. That's still surrender. That's still enough. There's a beauty in the vulnerability of the night. When masks drop, when pride dissolves, when you're no longer pretending to be strong, that's when your soul breathes. And that's when Allah begins to respond, not always with answers, but sometimes with peace so profound it quiets every storm inside you. You keep waiting for change to come from outside, new job, new people, new signs. But what if the transformation is meant to happen within? What if the pain you carry isn't a curse, but a compass, turning you back to where you always belonged? Don't underestimate the value of those nights. The angels witness your whisper. The heavens record your tears. And Allah, Al-Latif, the subtle, is closer than ever, holding your heart in His mercy while the world sleeps. So next time the night keeps you awake, know this: you were chosen for a conversation the world wasn't meant to hear. There comes a time when you have to stop asking for signs and start walking with conviction. Faith was never meant to be built on constant reassurance. It was meant to be carried in your chest, steady even when your eyes can't see the way forward. Because the greatest believers were not those who saw the outcome, but those who trusted Allah when the path was hidden. Look at Musa, alayhis salam, standing before the sea, behind him an army, before him nothing but water. Logic screamed surrender. But what did he say? "Indeed, with me is my Lord. He will guide me." And the sea split, not because it made sense, but because faith made space for the impossible. You too have oceans ahead of you, fears, doubts, unknowns. But if you carry tawakkul, true reliance on Allah, what you see as an end becomes a new beginning. The believer doesn't need to know the how. He only needs to know who is in control, Maybe your entire life has been leading to this moment. Every heartbreak, every unanswered dua, every tear, not wasted, never random, all of it, threads in a tapestry only Allah can see the full beauty of. You were not created to break. You were created to bow, to rise, and to walk with dignity, even when the world tries to bend you. Don't wait for the perfect moment to return to Him. The perfect version of yourself may never come. Return now, broken, unsure, tired. Allah doesn't want perfection. He wants sincerity. A heart that says, Ya Rab, I don't know where I'm going, but I want it to be toward you. Because in the end, it won't be the achievements, the applause, or even the people that matter. It will be the moments when you chose Allah, even when it hurt. When you said Alhamdulillah through tears. When you walked away from sin, not because you weren't tempted, but because you knew your soul was worth more. So start today, even if all you can give is a whisper, a single sajda, a tear in the night. Allah sees it, He treasures it, and maybe, just maybe, that will be the moment everything changes. If this touched your heart, don't let the message stop with you. Subscribe to the channel, support this journey, and share it with someone whose soul might need a reminder that Allah never left, and it's never too late to return.